Hello everyone, CIG fixed clipping, wow! First, I want to show you just a few examples, there are countless more. Flank speed. Oh, did it work? Okay, I pushed flicker inside the prices using a trolley. Ejecting into a Valkyrie, this is a cargo area. I try to be very close and now eject. And he is clipping through the Valkyrie, he's now inside, unharmed. Pretty much identical to Andromeda, he can walk around. We have an Andromeda and a Dragonfly, you're just flying underneath the cargo elevator and using the Z axis to move up. And then you're just pressing your dismount button. Easy as it gets, you are inside, you have full access to the ship. All those doors are automatic doors, you cannot even lock them. And now I clipped to the ship. This is an old bug that is still in the game. You can clip into almost any ship with an interior. This means you can easily steal ships.
How do you plan to protect the player's ship from someone coming on board during a manual loading process and flying away or stowing away on board? Basically, how can players protect themselves during this vulnerable time?
Yeah, I think the bigger question is, how are you going to protect your ship and your cargo that's being loaded and unloaded on your ship?
And we still have ships spawning at docking arms with open doors. We are at Everus, the space station. Halsey either spawns in a hangar or at a docking arm, and if she spawns at a docking arm, the door is wide open. My guess is there's no button on the outside to open the door. This would be really silly though. CIG's reply to an IC report was, "Thanks for the report. While this is a valid feedback, we have to close this as it's not a bug." Yeah, not a bug. So how did CIG fix this? Well, I lied to you, they didn't. Let's take a look at the patch notes. To prevent uninvited players getting aboard docked ships, technically any ship near a station, we now teleport trespassing players out of ships they don't own, unless in party with owner, when within 5 km of an ATC with teleport points. So yeah, this is not a fix, this is just a quick band-aid, and it doesn't really fix much. Instead of fixing ships spawning with open doors at docking ports, instead of fixing Star Citizen's massive clipping issues, instead of giving us security police forces in high security systems, CIG goes for teleporting strangers of ships they don't own or are not partied with the owner. Once again, CIG goes for lowest possible effort. I want to remind everyone again, this is not a small indie project just starting. This is a $1 billion project in year 13. Let this sink in. Can you even fix your massive clipping issues, CIG? Why is Star Citizen the worst game ever in alpha or finished when it comes to clipping issues? Yeah, I've never played any other game, finished or in alpha, with so many clipping issues. I don't know what's going on here. I played other games that are using CryEngine with no clipping issues at all. And this does not really fix the clipping issues, because strangers are only getting teleported away within 5 km of an ATC with teleport points. People can still clip into ships at outposts, etc. And we still have ships that have doors that cannot be locked. I want to point out again, I don't want Star Citizen to fail. I want Star Citizen to become a fantastic game and a huge success. But I have no hope left with Chris and CIG's top management. How can a game studio with so much time and so much money still be so utterly incompetent? And what happened to the permission system? More than 9 years ago, CIG already talked about a permission system. Even Chris said it is needed. Yeah, where is it? I want to show you now some clips about CIG talking about a permission system. I'm already saying my goodbye. Auf Wiedersehen!
Now first is the captain's station. This is usually the owner of the ship, and he has the ability to see what all of the others are currently doing. He also has the ability, if needed, to override one of the other stations and take control of what's going on in that position. He also has the ability to set permissions and set the security states to put the ship on high alert or at a peace state if you're in a less risky position.
Overall, like for a ship owner, we do want you to have some level of control to say, okay, I'm hiring you on board as crew, have them be another player or an NPC, and I'm going to give you access to the engineering station. I'm going to give you access to shield management, and you'll flag your crew for the different permissions that you want. That way, it'll be a bit trickier for someone to just run up to the pilot seat of your own ship, try and get in and use it, and it'll be more, well, you didn't flag him for permissions, so he's going to just rip you out the seat, get in his own pilot seat, and start flying.
This is the exact same problem that we're going to encounter over and over and over again that we've talked about, which is, well, if somebody boards your ship, can they basically just sit in the pilot seat and go? And that's the way it is right now. But if eventually we're going to have much more of a security system concept. And so, irregardless of the fact that I allow other players onto my ship, that doesn't necessarily mean that I, as captain, have basically given them the keys to the thing.
Well,
so
you may not give them the permission to use the helm. They may have the permission to walk all around or use turrets or whatever, but
and so
they may not have the keys to the ignition.
Yeah, I can see the captain, the owner of the ship, basically designating who can do what. In other words, if I'm disconnected, then my navigator, whether it's an NPC or a player, can basically assume control of piloting the craft. But I, in advance, basically said how I want the ship to, how I want the crew of the ship to be able to respond in this particular scenario.
We want people to be able to manage custom groups, to customize permissions for individuals, to set roles on people in those groups, in parties, to be able to set permissions on ships for people who are on your ship. What can they access? What can they get into? And so in order to house all that new functionality, we need a new UI system that's capable of doing that.
We've been looking into building this permission system for ships where the captain can assign item control to specific people in the ship. So he can, give the engineer the role to control the power plant and the coolers, and a weapons officer the ability to control weapons, that sort of thing, right? And the hope is that over time, as we add more and more depth of sort of systems gameplay inside the ships, that combined with the permission system will be conducive to more and more deep multi-crew gameplay.
Okay, so I'm moving around because physics is hard for CIG. And now door will close automatically. Yeah, 10 out of 10. And one container glitched through and now it's on top. Yeah, this isn't exactly a very good way to load your ship, Chris. And even when I use a very bad radial menu, there's only close. There's no separate elevator up. And now my mule gets kicked into the caterpillar. Yeah. Some people say I'm too negative, but come on people. This is a $1 billion project in year 13 with mechanics that are worse than in very, very small indie games I have seen. There's no excuse for this. I don't judge this game like I would judge a small indie dev studio in year 1 or 2. Hey, you're still here. You might want to join me on Twitter or on Blue Sky.